Let's chat now to DA spokesperson on justice, Glynnis Breytenbach. Thank you so much, Glynnis, for joining us this evening. Now, as you just heard from Minister Ronald Lamola and the NPA, it seems like all processes, as they say, were followed from their side. And it seems like this is more of a communications issue from the UAE. What's your take on this?
Good evening. Yeah, I've listened to them, and quite honestly, I can say that I find it somewhat unconvincing. It just isn't how extraditions work. They should have been on top, but both the NPA and the Minister and his office should have been on top of this extradition. It's unthinkable that an extradition hearing can take place in February without the South African authorities being notified, and then only being notified of the outcome now in April. I have, in my entire existence as a prosecutor, never heard of such a thing. You communicate with the extraditing authority, communicate with the extraditing country, and quite frankly, the minister's argument of a timeline is unconvincing. Just late last month, we submitted a raft of questions with regards to this extradition, and now all of a sudden, this letter has been received, telling us that the application was unsuccessful. I know that newspapers have submitted questions in the past and been battered off. The parliamentary questions were not quite so easy to bat because, of course, you're held accountable to what you answer in Parliament. And so I find this confluence of coincidences a little disturbing, I must say.
Now, of course, you mentioned in a statement that the question now stands whether there was ever, serious intention to successfully extradite these perpetrators, in your own words, bearing in mind the consequences it would have ensured for so many highly placed ANC members. Are you saying that, there might be other powers at play here that is trying to, stop this whole process to happen and get the Gupta brothers on a South African soil?
Well, certainly that's always been a concern. I mean, it can't be anything new, and I can't be the only person who's thought it. The consequences with regards to extraditing the Guptas, them coming back to South Africa and standing trial, would simply mean that they would take down everybody with them. There's a propensity amongst accused people as the jail doors open for you, so you want to take your friends with you. So, of course, there would have been serious consequences had the Guptas been extradited and tried. And there must be many, many, many people highly placed in the ANC that are breathing a sigh of relief at the news that the application to extradite them was unsuccessful. Whether an appeal will be successful remains to be seen. One hopes that if there is an appeal, it will be dealt with in a fashion less shoddy than this extradition application.
Yeah, I just wanted to get to that, actually, the appeal, because we did hear from some experts that an appeal won't necessarily be successful in this case. But what do you think could the next steps be, or is this just now a hopeless case?
Well, in my view, for this particular extradition application, it's a hopeless case. They're no longer, one presumes they're no longer in custody, and we hear reports that they're traveling the world and Africa on South African passports, to add insult to injury. And so for this particular application, it's the end of the road. There may be other charges that can be brought, and there may be other extradition applications that can be made based on different facts and hopefully on different warrants of arrest, if that's going to happen. But of course, those applications will always be coloured by this particularly unsuccessful one.
And there must be some sort of accountability here to the UAE side as well. Don't you think they could have been a little bit more helpful and a little bit more transparent when it comes to this whole issue?
Well, I can't say anything about the UAE and their transparency because I'm unaware of what took place. Without having seen all the correspondence between the UAE and their extraditing authority and the South African authorities to determine whether or not there was a lack of communication on either side, it's impossible to say. So I don't know if the UAE lacked transparency.
All right, thank you so much. That's Glynnis Breytenbach, the DA spokesperson on justice, just giving her opinion on the extraditing of the Gupta brothers. Like we heard also from Minister Rondlamola, that they will maybe be appealing the court ruling, and whether or not that will be successful, we'll definitely be keeping you updated on that and the processes that will be followed now regarding this situation.